All right, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing the review on the 2024 Matthew Berry Challenge. One of the things that I just think is so important in this industry that nobody wants to do for whatever reason is I just think more people should evaluate the evaluator, because there's always nonsense before the season. You never hear about it after the season, and then those same people trust those same people the following season. It's a concept I've never really truly understood, but that's 100% why we're starting this series, because I just think there's a lot of nonsense that comes from the fantasy community. If I'm wrong, let's hold me accountable too. Like, maybe you don't think you should trust me. That's fine. That's exactly why we do this, because I want people to trust what's coming out of my mouth. So let's hold each other accountable. James Herrick is the referee, as always. He's in charge of the scoring system. This way I'm not marking it off myself. So James, what's going on? How are you?
It's a great time. Love talking some fantasy football, and this challenge has been a fun one through the 2 years we've done it. So I enjoy sitting down and looking through some of these things, and we talked our fair share of shit before the season started.
Yes, we did.
I was looking back at the video. I was like, wow, we're really talking. And it'll be fun to sit back and do the opposite end of that and go over it and recap it.
Absolutely.
First quarterback, it was the over on the one and only. Also, before we get into that, the over means he finishes at, we'll say quarterback 20, for example. If you take the over, that means he finishes higher than 20. So quarterback 23, 24, and so on. So first one, over on QB 25 for Kirk Cousins. He actually finished, I was very surprised where he finished. He finished at quarterback 20, which, for Christ's sake, is...
So he won that one?
No. No, you took the over at 15, and he finished worst.
Okay.
So he did not win that one.
I was going to say, there's no way he won Kirk Cousins.
That ended up being like, when I thought he was going to be quarterback, I don't know, 35 or something like that after getting benched. But
couple injuries.
Yeah. He sneaks in at QB 20, but I mean that one's pretty straightforward. That's about as a landslide.
Well, I was for this one, I was mostly going to ask you, like, how many bonus points do I get on top of this? Because number one, Darnold outscored him, which nobody fucking had, but I was very loud about that. Mm-hmm. And number two, he actually got benched by Penix, which we said in the video was a very real possibility.
Yeah.
So I think we played this about as perfectly as we possibly could. I wanted no stock of Kirk Cousins. I thought this Falcons team was a total fraud show. And everything we said about him fucking happened.
Yeah, and hey, we also talked a lot about the difference between Minnesota and Atlanta. And that in itself played out. I mean, that couldn't have played out better. We're talking about moving from Minnesota, moving to Atlanta.
I mean, I had
Sam Darnold having some life, and you might as well just take Sam Darnold. So I mean, that was about as big of a success as you can get. And if you were someone who drafted Kirk Cousins and you're living with, like, some of these games, I mean, none of these games are good, but, like, he's at least giving you production, and he got benched for the playoffs. So it's not like, if you didn't, like, cut him by the playoffs, you were, like, screwed regardless. And at that point, it's hard to add people because of how many injuries you had. Yeah. So you were getting screwed by the fact that you didn't even have a chance to get any points out of him come playoff.
Like in my league, in the 13-team league, because we do contracts and stuff, Penix was already taken. So, like, it would have been very hard by fantasy playoffs. I mean, you were looking at Tommy DeVito, or, like, maybe Drew Lock would have been your replacement by then.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you actually would have got a good game out of Drew Lock.
Maybe.
Good luck to you. I mean, if you're throwing out Drew Lock out there in fantasy playoffs and he gives you that performance, like, you better, it doesn't get more lucky.
You probably would have been eliminated by that point, but yeah, Drew Lock would have had one for you. What's the ruling on this? I just think there should be at least more than one, because, I mean, not only did he finish it, Darnold outscored him, and he got benched. I mean, where are we going with this?
I say we go 2. 2 points total, 1 for the original over, and then tack on the bonus point for the Sam Darnold love that was given in the original video, and acknowledge a little bit of the...
Now everybody likes Sam Darnold. It's weird how that works.
Exactly. Next quarterback we've got on the list is Tua.
He definitely didn't hit.
No, this one was a win for Barry.
He may have actually hit on points per game, but I'm not positive on that.
You took he might have. I didn't check on points per game though. You hit the under. You took the under. QB 17. He finished as QB 23.
So he might have actually hit points per game then.
Yeah, because he missed 5 games.
That's a lot.
5. Yeah, he would have. It would have been a hit if he wouldn't have missed games. Justin Herbert is the next quarterback, and Herbert is about as easy of a call as you get. This is under QB 19 was the ruling, and he finished as QB 14. So, I mean, a lot of the things that were said on that one were pretty accurate. Like, I believe the big point that we talked about was Harbaugh coming in.
I'll say this too about Herbert. He heated up as the season went along. Like, he had a couple weeks where they were really conservative. I mean, really conservative. But by the end of the year, it felt like they were opening shit up. They like, okay, we got McConkey. We're trusting him now. Like, I think his last 3 or 4 weeks really, really hit it.
This next one, kind of a tough call. Switching over to the running backs. Joe Mixon. You took the over on RB12. He finishes RB12.
Wow.
So, right on the dot there. And as a tiebreaker, I looked at ESPN PPR. He finishes as RB13 over there.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's a pretty similar spot on that aspect of things as well. So,
well, I would say this, though.
Mm-hmm.
He did not help you in the fantasy playoffs at all. And that was a big thing for me. I didn't want to trust these older running backs. It's the last 2-3 weeks of the year is what really fucking matters. And those guys, they faded in the last 2 or 3 fucking weeks. And I think I actually have this draft on the website. It's going to be an article titled "Why I Blame Zach Taylor for Being Wrong About Joe Mixon." Because if you really watch the fucking Bengals, it's pretty obvious now that they were part of the fucking problem. Like, that team just has no physical toughness at all. And I mean, I was right in the sense that I thought the Texans would take a step back. Like, I didn't view them as a Super Bowl contender, which was another reason why I had them on the list. I was right about that. But I think now when you really go back and watch it, man, that Zach Taylor offense, I mean, he wants a nickel running back. They're in shotgun, 3 wide receiver. Like, a big reason why he wasn't crazy in Cincinnati. Obviously now, I mean, that team is just not tough at all.
Yeah. Couple other things here. Like you said, all the running backs fall apart end of the year. He had a bye in week 14. So okay. I don't know what we're doing with week 14 buys, but he comes back from the bye. He gives you 5.6, 7.1, and 3.9 to end the year. Killed you.
I mean, he killed you.
Part of me wants to give you the point on that, and part of me wants to say I call it a push. So I'm kind of in between a little bit. Another thing I will acknowledge is that in the video, you did say the phrase, quote, "You're drafting him at his ceiling." At RB12, and he hit the ceiling. So, you were correct on that. So, I'm a little bit in the middle here. I'll go concession and give you a half point for the fantasy football fall apart. Because I was
I don't know. Maybe some people operate differently. When I draft my fucking team, I care about weeks 15, 16, and 17. I take my guys based off of that. I want to win the fucking league. So Mixon just at that spot wasn't going to be a guy that I went after. Luckily, I didn't have him and he didn't kill me. But if you had him throughout the year, he definitely helped you.
The next running back on the list is a interesting discussion as well.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara.
Sure.
So Alvin Kamara.
I was dead to rights in week 2, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Alvin Kamara, you took the over on RB16. He finishes as RB14.
Wow.
However, so he gets you on that.
Yeah.
But that is off the back of let's see here. 50-point week 2.
Yep.
That is the only time, or excuse me, there's one other time, week 8, that he eclipsed 20 points. So he gives you 50 in week 2, gives you 21.
A smart move would have been to trade him after week 2.
Yes.
So where are we going with this? Because this is another one where, I mean, I was right. He faded down the stretch. He killed you. If you relied on him as like your RB1 or RB2, he killed you.
Also, I did take the quote again. So for Joe Mixon, it was drafted at ceiling. For this one, it was, quote, he'll fall apart late. So, like, he doesn't even play the last 2 weeks. I say we go another half point here, round it out, because once again, he technically hits the... You don't hit the over, but the message in the argument is there. So it's like, by technicality, someone could get upset and be like, oh, well, you didn't hit the over when you take the over.
Sure.
But then again, like, the heart of the argument is the important part, like the actual evaluation, and that part was correct. All right, this is a fun one. RB34, you took the over, the one and only Jonathon Brooks. And I also think
that was awesome.
I also think in the same conversation we can talk about Nick Chubb.
Sure.
Because we a lot of the conversation with the Jonathon Brooks thing was, why are you taking Brooks coming off injury when you can just take Chubb coming off injury? And I'm not saying, I mean, Chubb got hurt again, so it's not like he...
Well, they both got hurt again.
Yeah. Jonathon Brooks, and just for... To some behind the scenes here, when I was trying to figure out Jonathon Brooks's finish in fantasy, I actually forgot to write it down, but point being, I had to expand to like 150 people. I tried to control F, type in Brooks. There was a different guy with the last name Brooks that finished ahead of him. I couldn't even tell you who that guy is.
The receiver on the Cowboys, probably.
No,
oh,
it was another running back. I was searching
the Packers' third string running back, Brooks.
Yeah, I was searching by Brooks's, and I got a different running back before him. I'm like, holy hell. So he finished on the year with playing in 3 games. He went 0.7.
Yep.
4.1. And negative 0.3. So all that work he did in his 0.7 game really got X'd out by his negative 0.3 game. And then he gets hurt again.
Yep.
Meanwhile, if you took Chubb got hurt again, so he only finished RB 54. However, he did give you like actual weeks with value.
When he was back the first like few weeks, he scored a couple touchdowns. I mean, he probably made your lineup in best ball a couple times. Probably not often, but maybe 3 times, something like that, out of the so many weeks.
Chubb gave you an 11.2, a 22, and a 12.5.
Okay.
I mean, it's nothing to like write home about.
No, but I mean, those probably made your lineup when you picked them, and I mean they were free. Both of them were basically free.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. You're getting them both for free. One of them gave you like 5 points, and the other one gave you a couple weeks where you actually used them in your lineup. So
what's the scoring on Brooks?
I say we give it a 2-pointer because also that not counting that as just Brooks, but also Chubb over Brooks. So there's more pieces in that than just taking the over on Brooks. Next on the list, we've got a little bit of
what's it now?
Oh, it's 6-2 or 6-1.
Okay.
These next 2 guys, it's kind of a little bit of a interesting discussion, or at least a complicated one. Video was made. It was like, let's just throw these 2 guys on here for like a half point, and we didn't really have, it wasn't like a slamming the table on and over for these next 2 guys. The first of the pair, Chase Brown, over 29, RB 29. He finished. He finished RB 13. So he hit it by
for him.
Also, when the rankings were made, we talked about this in the video, but in the rankings, he put Zach Moss and Chase Brown right next to each other, said he didn't have to differentiate between the 2. So it's not like there was this strong pound the table for Chase Brown. It was well, I'll put them right next to each other. It's whatever. So, like, I think my ruling here is going to be half point. I'll do the half point for Barry since we.
I'll say this, though. If you had him in the fantasy finals, I went up against him a couple times. What the fuck was that slide where he injured himself? That was bad.
Next back, kind of a similar discussion here as well. Tyrone Tracy, who you had on your team.
I had him on 2 teams.
Yeah.
I didn't draft him. I picked him up as a free agent, though.
Took the over 56 on Tyrone Tracy. And I don't think this was a terrible call because the discussion here there was a lot about handcuff running backs. And it was like, why would you handcuff a Giants running back? Well, Singleton gets hurt and he becomes a starter, so he outproduces the rest of the handcuffs and immediately flies up the board. Finishes RB.
As soon as Singletary got nicked up, I picked him in 2 leagues.
Yeah. RB 28 is the finish. And one of the things that we said was, or you said, Jordan Mason, take Jordan Mason instead of him. And in all honesty, you could have taken Jordan Mason, rode the wheels on Mason until they fell off, and then just went to Tracy. You could have both of them, honestly.
I actually did that exact thing in 1 league.
Yeah. So we can give Barry the point because you take over 56, he finishes 28. But
this is where I want to talk about Bucky Irving, though, because I just thought coming in, it was a horrible running back draft. I didn't really trust any of the running backs to help you as a rookie, except for one. I thought there was a chance that it actually happened. I thought there was a good chance that Bucky would be something in Tampa, and then at the best case scenario, he's even better than Rachaad White and really takes over that backfield. I just thought I didn't hate Tracy. Like, I don't want people I didn't hate Tracy. If anybody that reads my draft profile on him, I just thought, man, like, he's a converted wide receiver. This guy's been playing wide receiver for 4 years. Then he switched to running back as his last college season. Is like, this thing might take some time here before he really becomes good. So I didn't see him helping you as a rookie on a bad team.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to emphasize. A lot of bad team talk.
Yeah.
Like, every time we said something, we then say, then you're taking the handcuff for the Giants. So, that was a lot of the discussion for her.
But this is where I want to talk about Bucky because, I just thought out of all the rookie running backs, if you were going to pick one, it had to be him. He had the best chance to really help you.
Next running back, and is this a classic or what? DeAndre Swift.
Okay.
A return.
He hit it though, right?
A staple. Yeah, so you took the under RB 24. This wasn't a kill, this wasn't a smash out of the park, but you were on the right side. It was RB 21 was the finish.
He was a perfect RB3 for you if you had him.
Yeah.
Like, if you had like some combination of like if you had like a Derrick Henry, Cook, and then Swift was your third guy, you were living.
Mm-hmm. And next up, Zamir White.
Ugh. How about this one? The best Raiders running back all year, you could argue it was Sincere McCormick. Who was the best Raiders running back? Who was the best Raiders running back this year? They all sucked. Like, it wasn't just like, because they were riding the Madison train. That's why they were like, oh, well, we don't want to take Zamir White because we think it's going to be Madison. It wasn't fucking Madison. It was nobody. The correct answer was nobody.
Yeah. And I remember in that video as well, it was, I don't love taking a running back on a bad team.
I broke my own rule, and I'll never do it again.
Zamir White. Thankfully, Zamir White's preseason price was RB 27.
Yeah.
So, like,
if you cut him, he didn't kill you if you just cut him. But yeah, not a good call.
And going over to the man, the myth, the legend, Drake London. This one, I can only imagine how you feel.
I don't have to jump off a roof.
No, he finished as wide receiver 11.
Yeah.
And you said you'd jump off a roof if you finished as wide receiver 10. So
I don't have to jump off a roof.
Hands clean. Hands clean. The next wide receiver on the list, George Pickens.
I would guess this is not going to be a hit.
This is not a hit. The take was under wide receiver 32. Man, did I think this was the biggest layup of the group.
Where did he finish?
He finishes wide receiver 41, and he missed 3 games. Jordan Addison is the next one, and I mean, you had the under on wide receiver 48. So this was the layup of the group.
Oh yeah.
He finishes.
I just thought that was insane.
It was.
Yeah.
He finishes wide receiver 8.
Crazy.
And
he wasn't healthy at the start of the year.
Yep. Part of me wants to do the good old give you 1 point and subtract 1 point for Barry for having him at 48. So I think that's going to be the a point for Trey and a minus point for Barry. And I kind of like to rub the head in the dirt and, you know.
But that's one of those where, how do you win your league? Well, if you get Addison for free, that fucking really helped you. Like that was a true league winning move. Mm-hmm. And I had Addison in all of the leagues I possibly could where he wasn't kept the season prior.
Yep. The grand finale.
This is the last one?
Yes, it is. I don't even know where to start with this. Let's roll the videos first, and then we'll get into over and unders and things like that. So, video number 1. We are submitting the evidence into court.
Okay.
All right.
Who is a must-have choice for you in your drafts? Matthew, give me a bold prediction on this rookie class.
All right.
Call your shot with the Dollarita.
There we go. Listen, calling my shot, I like to call my Dollarita, but I will say, here's my shot. This is my bold prediction. I'm going pretty bold here. Ben Sinnott,
I know him.
Rookie tight end of the Washington Commanders, has a better fantasy season this year than the highly touted Brock Bowers.
I like
better
it.
Quarterback situation, less target competition. Give me Ben Sinnott over Brock Bowers in fantasy points his rookie year.
$7 Dollarita on the Dollarita scale for that one?
That is video.
Can we just show the date too? Can we show the date on that? Because I don't want people thinking I made this on AI and fucking. You know?
There's the Twitter post. Let's see. Where's the date on this? May 13th, 2024.
There we go.
It was tweeted.
I think this is the worst call in fantasy football history. Like I legitimately, if I did this, I think I would quit. Like I was like, I'm not meant to do this. I should just go be a gym teacher. Like I'm being dead serious.
I know. That's what I'm laughing.
I would quit.
It's bad. It is bad. I don't even know where to go as far as the scoring goes because like it's already 9-3. Do we go?
It was 9-3 before the most egregious call in fantasy football history.
Yeah. So I said, I mean, I'm trying to figure out how many points I tack on here. Going at least 2, but I don't know if I don't think this is 2 years. I don't think I've ever whipped out the 3-point bonus point. I think I haven't gone
above
above
the 2. Mike Evans last year.
Oh, Mike Evans. And by the way, great call last year on Mike Evans. So we'll go the 3-point again. Maybe we'll do the 2 bonus for you and then the screw you, Barry. You're getting a -1 for your stupid ass prediction. Okay. I'm a fan of the -1s if you can't tell.
Fair enough.
I like the.
Well, I think you can make the argument that even if I was losing, which isn't the case, even if I was losing, he should be automatically disqualified for the worst call in fantasy football history.
I think it would be fair. Do you have any other fantasy college you want to make?
So what's the exact final score?
11-2 is the exact final score.
Okay, not bad. We actually almost did. I think we did better than last year, or around the same.
Last year honestly might have been 11-2 as well. It
really?
might be the exact same. Yeah, I have to double check. But
so what? We're approximately 22-4 lifetime
over the course of 2 years. Yep, around that number, give or take.
Unbelievable.
I know it was his wins were 2 last year. So I know his final number is 4, but I don't know. Yours maybe 25, 26, maybe it's 24, but it's somewhere in that.
So roughly 24-2 lifetime over this guy.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Yeah, king of fantasy football. I guess he invented it. I guess.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
The UFC writer in me, TKO.
Beautiful.
Actually, straight knockout.
Beautiful. I just like Is anybody going to acknowledge this? Like, this guy gets paid millions. I mean, millions. And we humiliated him.
Every year, back to back.
It's not even close. Like, it's not even close. Like, it'd be one thing if I'm scraping by, getting a close win. I'm killing him based on his list.
That should also be stressed is that you're not, it's not your love list.
No.
We're not taking from your love list or your hate list.
No.
We're taking from his, which makes it harder to.
I can only pick a handful of things. But he's so bad at this that his entire fucking hate list on the receivers was wrong. Like, what are we doing?
It is bad.
It's bad.
That's funny.
Like, we got to stop pretending this guy invented fantasy football. A, he did not invent fantasy football. He did not invent the concept of fantasy football. And B, he's just not good at it. Another victory for Trey. I guess we'll see you guys next year.